I'm the Red Lady, Shamanic Witchcraft practitioner, and welcome to episode 7 of Hecate's Garden. Firstly, a quick reminder that this video is intended for information purposes only. Today we are looking at black nightshade or Solanum nigram. When it comes to the use of plants in witchcraft, I do prefer to use plants that I have grown myself or plants that grow in my locality, and I can easily forage for them rather than buying dried plants from witchcraft suppliers because I don't know where they originated or how they were grown, if any pesticides were used, and so on. And if you are super keen on working with Hecate and improving your knowledge of plants in relation to magical practice, then you really should be looking to cultivate your own plants and getting to know these plant spirits on a personal level rather than buying in dried plants. If you don't have a garden, or if for some reason you can't grow your own or forage, then in that case, it's fine. But I find that Hecate really does prefer and appreciate it when you make the effort to grow the plants you use in your witchcraft practice for yourself. I think it gives you a greater understanding and appreciation of the value and the power of that plant. So first of all, I will talk about the plant itself and its cultivation, and then I'll move on to its various witchcraft uses. So black nightshade is not to be confused with the deadly nightshade variety, otherwise known as belladonna. They are very similar plants. Both have the black berries and that 5-pointed star shape at the base. However, the deadly nightshade variety has a purple flower and the berries grow singly, and the black nightshade has a white flower and the berries grow in clusters. Now, I feel that this plant is unfairly overlooked when it comes to witchcraft. It's not listed in many of the books that I have, and related varieties such as belladonna or the woody nightshade tend to be more popular. It's fairly common here in Wales. It does also grow in England, but the further north you go, the more difficult it is to find, also I've heard. There are lots of varieties of Solanum nigram that grow all over the world. You can find it growing in hedgerows, on waste ground, even in the city. They will grow in green spaces or from cracks in the pavement. The one that grows in my garden is the standard European variety, and it grows to about 1 metre or so in height, give or take. I filmed its progress over the course of the summer, so hopefully this will show you what it looks like at the various stages of its growth. It is considered a weed and it can spread very quickly. Each berry contains about 40 to 50 seeds, and the plant starts to emerge in May and begins to die off in September. Now, seeds that go to ground can remain dormant for long periods and then germinate when the conditions are more favourable. Birds and small mammals can also disperse the seeds through their droppings, and the small white flowers will appear in clusters, and there are 5 petals, white petals, that open into a star shape like a pentagram, and it has a yellow centre. So after the flowers come the green berries that later ripen to black, of which the insides are full of seeds and pulp. So when the berries are green and unripe, they should be regarded as toxic and can cause abdominal pain, vomiting, confusion, and if large amounts are ingested, can cause death due to respiratory failure. But when the berries ripen and turn black, they lose that toxicity, unlike deadly nightshade, which holds its toxicity even when its berries are ripe. So black nightshade has been used for food in the past and still is in many parts of the world. Leaves and stalks can be boiled to get rid of the toxicity and used in a similar way to spinach. The berries can be used to make jam, and it is a plant that has been used during times of famine as well. So research has apparently confirmed that it has anti-herpes properties, and it has also been used as a sedative and was once used to treat shingles. So its use in witchcraft is similar to using the deadly nightshade. Black nightshade, as with all nightshades, are associated with the goddess Hecate, for whom the series is named. And Hecate is representative of the underworld, spirits of the dead. She is a goddess of magic, the three-way crossroads, transitional states, plant law, specifically poison plants, and the list does go on. So you can use black nightshade in any magical work or ritual that involves Hecate or in honouring Hecate. Black nightshade is representative of dark moon energy. Briefly, before I go on, my next video in the Shamanic Witchcraft 101 series, which is a separate series to Hecate's Garden, will be centred on the difference between the dark moon and the new moon, because some people use the term interchangeably, but they are in fact two different phases that carry two different energies. And so when I say dark moon, I'm not using that term interchangeably with the new moon, just to be clear on that. So black nightshade is representative of dark moon energy. And you can use black nightshade in planetary magic relating to Saturn, magic relating to the underworld, baneful magic, banishing, binding, weather magic, specifically rain making, because it has a watery element. So you can use it for all those things. You can make an ink with the berry juice for drawing sigils, writing spells and magical alphabets. So the ink then transfers its magical qualities to the sigils or words and further enhances then the power of the sigil or the words. So it can also be used in magical work for setting boundaries and protection, and you can also use it to assist with shadow work. If you are a beginner in witchcraft, or if you are just not confident with working with baneful plants, but you want or need to use belladonna, aka deadly nightshade, then you could easily substitute it with the less toxic black nightshade variety. And so black nightshade can be substituted if you recoil at the thought of working with deadly plants. It's very much a transitional plant that can help you gain more confidence and kind of eases you into working with more baneful plants, if that's what you want to do, if that makes sense. It kind of transitions you in. I also want to talk a little bit about what happened when this plant suddenly appeared in my garden. So, moving swiftly into the realm of personal experience, I have no idea how it got into the garden. One year it just started growing, and I was working with Hecate at the time. I've lived in the same house for over 23 years, and I'd never seen it grow in the garden during those years. So it's possible that seeds may have come from bird droppings. One berry contains as many as 40 or 50 seeds, and the birds do like to eat them. Or, it may have grown after a period of dormancy, after which the soil had been disturbed. So it could be that I disturbed the soil when gardening, and they could have grown as a result, or somehow disturbed the soil, because I didn't really do a lot of gardening until that point. So whatever the case may be, I did not intend to grow this plant. It just appeared and started growing. And I was quite new to working with Hecate at this point, and I did mistake it for deadly nightshade. And I wondered, how on earth it could be growing where it previously didn't. So however it got into the garden, it was, for me, a clear sign that was encouraging me to learn about this plant and also that Hecate wanted me to become more involved with growing my own plants and learning about their various uses, particularly in relation to witchcraft. So up until that point, I never did much gardening at all. So this is literally a plant which Hecate used to initiate me, or seemingly used to initiate me, into working with the magical properties of plants. I do not believe that it was some kind of odd coincidence, that it randomly started to grow as I began working with Hecate. I do believe that Hecate herself initiated the growth of that plant in my garden. Whether a seed was dropped by a bird or it grew after a period of dormancy, it doesn't matter. Hecate wanted me to gain knowledge of this plant spirit, and after I realised that, that's when my gardening and learning about all sorts of different plants, that really took off. So something else I noticed at this time was that I was working with far more spirits than I previously had done before. Not just the plant spirits, but animal spirits, spirits of the dead, and various deities. Working with this plant, especially if you have it in your garden, it seems to really draw spirits close. I found that working with black nightshade seems to enhance mediumship, and spirits will naturally draw to you if it is close by. At least that's the major thing that I noticed about working with this plant. I am the Red Lady. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Please do share and subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell for notifications. And please do check out my other videos, and I will see you soon.